Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting to be back.
So today we're looking at something,
Pretty interesting, actually.
yeah, it's deceptively simple on the surface, but then it gets,
Really fascinating when you dig in.
yeah, we're talking about pocket money in the UK.
Pocket money.
And specifically, we're diving into a book called Pocket Money, A History of Financial Literacy in the UK by
Conrad Riker.
Conrad Riker, that's right. And what's so cool about this book is it's not just like a dry
No, not at all.
textbook or something. It's full of
Anecdotes and stories and
real life examples
Yeah.
of how people have used pocket money and what it's meant in British society
yeah, I mean, it really gets you thinking about
over the years.
over the years how it's changed and what it says about like our values and the economy and
Yeah, like the psychology of money,
absolutely.
how we think about money and how we learn about money.
Yeah, and how all of that is shaped by like the time period we're in.
Right, exactly.
Like one of the first things that just like jumped out at me from this book was how different things were before the Industrial Revolution.
Oh yeah.
Like just imagine this
What?
children in the UK basically
Uh-huh.
earned their own money through labor.
Like little tiny jobs.
Yeah, they were contributing to the family income.
Wow, that's so different from like what we think of as like
Allowing.
the weekly allowance.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even like kids getting paid for chores.
Yeah, it was a completely different world.
That's wild.
But then as industrialization kind of took hold, kids started going to school more
Right.
instead of working full time. And that's when this whole concept of an allowance emerged.
Interesting.
And it wasn't just about like,
Here's some cash.
yeah, just giving kids money to spend it became this way to like teach them about responsibility and get them ready for this more like,
Structured world.
more structured economy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so Riker argues that like this shift wasn't just about money. It was about preparing children for their future roles in this rapidly changing society.
Yeah, like they needed different skills.
Right, exactly.
To navigate this new world.
Yeah, and those early pocket money practices, like as basic as they might seem,
Yeah.
they actually laid the groundwork for how we think about financial literacy even today.
That's a really cool connection.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these things kind of carry through.
Right.
So we've got this historical context, but then the book goes on to talk about how pocket money practices differ across socioeconomic groups.
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting.
It does. It gets really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
The book shows how children from wealthier families tend to receive more pocket money.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess
And they're more likely to get it as a regular allowance rather than having to do chores for it.
Right.
Like, it's just kind of given.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, kids from lower income families often receive less and are more likely to have to,
Work for it.
yeah, like it's tied to specific tasks.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
But it
And-
raises some questions, right?
It does.
Does
Yes.
this disparity in like early financial experiences
Yeah.
contribute to financial inequality later in life?
That's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Does it shape different attitudes towards, like, work and money?
Responsibility or
Exactly.
entitlement or
All that.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
The book explores these questions through some really compelling case studies.
Yeah. These are so interesting.
So there's one about
Let's see, there's
this kid, Alan,
Alan.
whose parents had a very structured approach to pocket money.
Uh-huh.
So he had to budget for his expenses.
Very organized.
Yeah, save a portion and even donate some to charity.
Wow.
Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, there's Emily,
Oh, Emily.
who grew up with a large allowance,
Boy.
but without much guidance on how to manage it.
Oh.
So she kind of struggled as a young adult with overspending
Yeah.
and had a bit of a sense of entitlement about money.
Yeah.
Those examples really show how those early lessons about money, even something as simple as pocket money,
Yeah.
can have like these ripple effects throughout our lives.
Absolutely. It highlights the critical role parents and educators play in shaping those early financial experiences and values.
Yeah, it's like what message are we sending even unintentionally
Right?
about money?
Yeah.
So it's not just about like,
The money itself.
here's some cash, go spend it.
It's about a whole mindset.
Yeah, shaping a whole mindset.
Right. And Riker argues that understanding the history of these practices can help us be more intentional about the financial lessons we're passing on to the next generation.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's like by understanding where these practices came from, we can make more informed choices about how we handle pocket money today.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's not just about kids and their spending habits. It's a window into like broader social, economic, and even psychological forces at play.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the historical context and the socioeconomic influences, but the book also dives into the psychological impact of pocket money on children. And this is where it gets really fascinating for me.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets good.
It's amazing how something as seemingly simple as a weekly allowance can influence a child's
Sense of self.
sense of self-esteem,
Yeah.
their decision-making
Yeah.
skills, even their feelings of independence.
Yeah, like it's a whole.
It's like this mini economy.
They get to practice
Yeah.
real life skills, but in a safe environment.
Yeah, exactly. And Riker points out that this can have both positive and negative effects.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So on the one hand, pocket money can help kids understand the value of money,
Right.
learn to delay gratification,
Delay gratification.
and develop a sense of control over their finances.
Yeah.
But if it's not handled well, it could also lead to anxiety.
Stress or even a sense of entitlement if they're just given money without any understanding of where it comes from or how to manage it.
Right. It's all about finding that sweet spot
Right.
where you're giving kids enough freedom to learn from their choices, but also providing guidance and support along the way.
Yeah, it's a tough balance.
Yeah.
And that's where Riker's insights from history become really valuable.
Yeah, because we can see what's worked and what hasn't.
Right, exactly.
So it's like we're building on the lessons of the past to help kids navigate the financial realities of today.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, but the world of money is so different now with all the digital stuff.
Oh, yeah, the digital age.
How does the book address that?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Riker dedicates a whole chapter to the evolution of pocket money in the digital age. Yeah, we've seen the rise of those digital pocket money apps, online banking platforms,
Oh, right.
and even the potential for kids to earn money through things like online gaming or social media.
Like being an influencer.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame.
So how does this digital shift change the way kids are learning about money?
Well, for one thing, these digital tools can make financial education way more engaging
Right.
and interactive.
Makes sense.
There are apps that let kids track their spending, set savings goals, even simulate investing in the stock market.
Oh, wow.
All things that might have seemed way too complex or boring in the past.
Right.
Like, remember those old budgeting spreadsheets?
Oh, my God, yeah.
No one wants to do that.
No.
But now it's like a game.
Yeah, it's all gamified.
Exactly.
It's amazing how technology is making these complex financial concepts more accessible to young people.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
But the book also points out that there are potential downsides to consider, right?
Of course, there are always downsides.
What are some of the things we need to be thinking about?
Well, one concern is that kids might lose touch with the tangible value of money
Oh, yeah.
when everything is digital.
Makes sense.
It's easy to forget that those numbers on a screen represent real-world purchasing power when you're not physically handling cash.
Like when you're not handing over
Yeah,
physical coins or bills.
right. It feels more abstract. Yeah.
So it's like we need to find a balance between leveraging the benefits of these digital tools while also teaching kids about the real world
the
consequences
real-world consequences.
of their financial decisions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Riker emphasizes throughout the book, regardless of the format.
So whether it's physical cash
Physical cash.
or digital currency.
Pocket money is ultimately a powerful tool
Yeah.
for shaping financial literacy.
And setting kids up for success.
Yeah, setting them up for success in the long run.
In the long run.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the historical evolution of pocket money, the socioeconomic influences, the psychological impact on kids, and even how the digital age is changing the game.
Yeah, we've done a lot.
Where do we go from here?
Wow.
What are some key takeaways?
I think the biggest takeaway is that pocket money is so much more than just handing over cash. It's about instilling values, shaping habits, and equipping the next generation with the tools they need to navigate this complex world of finance.
It's like pocket money is this microcosm of the larger financial world.
It is
Where kids can experiment, learn, and grow in a safe
a
environment.
safe little sandbox.
Yeah, exactly.
And by understanding the history of these practices and how they've evolved over time,
Yeah.
we can be more intentional about the financial lessons we're passing on to the next generation.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's all about being thoughtful and intentional about what
Yeah,
we do.
awesome. And I think what's really cool about this book is it doesn't just focus on parents.
Yeah.
It also dives into the role of schools
Oh, yeah.
in teaching financial literacy,
Huge.
which seems like a
Crucial piece of the puzzle.
a really important piece.
Absolutely.
So tell me about that. What does the book say?
So the book actually traces the history of financial education in UK schools.
Oh, wow.
It's fascinating
Okay.
to see how it's evolved from very basic money management skills
Okay.
to much more comprehensive programs that cover things like budgeting, saving, investing, even understanding debt.
Sounds like schools are really recognizing that
Yeah.
financial literacy isn't just a nice to have.
No.
It's like,
An essential life skill.
yeah, you need it
You need this.
to function.
And the book highlights some really innovative approaches schools are taking.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Some are partnering with banks to create real-world simulation
Oh, wow.
where kids can practice managing their own accounts.
So it's not just
Yeah, and making financial decisions.
theoretical anymore.
It's not just theoretical, they're getting hands-on experience.
I like that.
Yeah, it's one thing to read about budgeting in a textbook, but it's a whole other level to actually experience the consequences.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a simulation of
Right.
overspending or making unwise
I
investments.
could see how that would be so much more impactful.
Yeah, it makes it real.
Yeah.
You know.
And the book also mentions using games and interactive technology to make learning about finances more engaging, right?
Oh yeah, gamification is huge.
Gamification,
It can make learning fun
Right.
and even a little addictive,
which is perfect for kids.
which is perfect for keeping kids motivated.
Love that stuff.
There are apps now that let kids simulate investing in the stock market, manage their own virtual businesses, even learn about cryptocurrency.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing how technology is opening up all these new avenues for financial education.
Yeah, and making it accessible to so many more young people.
But like with anything, there are potential downsides too, right?
Definitely.
Like what are some of the things that Riker brings up?
One concern is that kids might become,
Too reliant.
disconnected from the real world
Right, yeah.
impact of their financial decisions.
Okay.
It's easy to forget that those numbers on a screen represent real money when you're not physically handling it.
Right, it's all very abstract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like we need to strike that balance
Right.
between the convenience and engagement of digital tools
Yeah.
and the grounding that comes from real world experience.
Like actually having to count out your cash
Yeah,
to
exactly.
make choices.
And the book stresses the importance of having kids do things like manage a small budget, save up for something they want, or even donate to a cause they care about.
Oh, yeah.
Those hands-on experiences
Yeah.
help them solidify their understanding of how money works in the real world.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this really comprehensive picture of how financial literacy is being approached in the UK. But one thing I'm curious about is, are there any differences in how boys and girls are being taught about money?
That's a great question. It's something Riker touches on in the book.
Okay.
He points out that historically, boys have often been given more pocket money than girls, reflecting traditional gender roles and the expectation that boys would be the primary breadwinners.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but that kind of disparity could really have an impact.
Yeah, it can affect girls' confidence when it comes to managing money.
Right.
And it reinforces those old stereotypes
Oh, yeah.
about who's supposed to be financially responsible.
So are things changing at all?
They are.
Okay, good.
Riker highlights that there's a growing movement towards more equitable pocket money practices.
That's good to hear.
Lots of parents are now making a conscious effort to give their sons and daughters equal amounts of pocket money
Okay.
and the same opportunities to learn about finances.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, it's a positive trend.
It seems like people are recognizing that financial literacy is important for everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of gender.
It's essential for everyone.
But as Riker points out, we still have work to do to challenge those deeply ingrained gender stereotypes.
Yeah, those things die hard.
They do.
We need to empower all children to feel confident and capable
Yeah.
when it comes to managing money.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So we've talked about gender, but what about cultural differences?
Well, that's another great point.
Does the book address how various cultural backgrounds
Yeah.
might approach financial literacy differently?
It does. Riker discusses how different cultures might prioritize saving, spending, or investing differently.
Yeah.
Some cultures might place a higher value on sharing wealth within the family,
Right.
while others might emphasize individual financial independence.
Makes sense.
And the book stresses how important it is for financial literacy education to be culturally sensitive.
Yeah, a one-size-fits-all approach
Doesn't work.
isn't going to be effective.
Wow.
Right? We need to recognize and respect those differences.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm also thinking about single-parent households.
Yeah.
They often face unique challenges, especially financially.
Yeah.
Does the book address that at all?
It does. Riker highlights the importance of providing support and resources to single parents when it comes to financial literacy.
Yep.
They might face greater financial pressure
Yeah.
and have less time to devote to teaching their kids about money.
So what are some of the solutions or resources that are out there?
Well, the book mentions things like access to financial counseling, educational programs, even affordable childcare.
Right.
But it also highlights the incredible resilience
Yeah.
and resourcefulness of single parents.
For sure.
Yeah, they're amazing.
It must take a lot of creativity to juggle all of that.
It does.
And Riker gives examples of single parents who find really innovative ways to teach their kids about money. Some involve their kids in household budgeting.
Well, that's a good one.
Others create fun games about money.
Yeah.
And some even start small businesses together as a way to teach entrepreneurial skill.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It just shows that even in the face of challenges, there are ways to make financial literacy a priority.
You can make it work. It's
Yeah.
important.
Okay, so we've talked about schools, gender cultural differences, and single-parent household.
Lots of different angles.
I'm curious, does the book go beyond personal finances at all? Like, does it address the idea of using pocket money to teach kids about things like philanthropy or social responsibility?
It does touch on that. There's a section where Riker explores how pocket money can be used to encourage children to give back to their community.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about managing your own money, but also thinking about
Right.
how you can use it
The bigger picture.
to make a positive impact.
Exactly. Riker gives some really inspiring examples of kids who use their pocket money to support charities, start fundraising initiatives, or even invest in socially responsible businesses.
Oh, wow.
It's a powerful way to show them that their financial decisions can make a difference.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
It's amazing how something as simple as pocket money
Yeah.
could be tied to something
So much bigger.
so much bigger. But I could also see how it could be tricky to navigate.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't want kids to feel pressured
Right.
to donate
It has to be
if it
generous.
wasn't something they genuinely cared about.
Yeah. Exactly. And Riker emphasizes the importance of approaching this with sensitivity.
Yeah.
It's about having open conversations with kids
Right.
and allowing them to choose how they want to use their pocket money.
Makes sense.
This should be an expression of their values,
Yeah.
not something imposed on them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of really interesting ground here. The role of schools, gender and cultural influences, single-parent households, even using pocket money for social good.
Yeah, it really shows how pocket money is woven into the fabric of our society.
It does. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering about the maybe less exciting but still important legal side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Does the book go into any of that?
It does. Riker actually devotes a whole chapter to the legal and regulatory landscape surrounding pocket money in the UK.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It might sound dry,
Okay.
but it's surprisingly fascinating.
I'm intrigued. What kind of legal stuff are we talking about?
Well, he traces the history of laws and regulations related to things like child labor, child savings accounts, and even the tax implications of pocket money.
Wow. I had no idea there were actual laws about pocket money.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of things do they cover?
Well, for example, in the past, it was common for children to work long hours in factories or mines, and their earnings were seen as supplementing the family income.
Oh, wow.
But as child labor laws came into effect and education became more important, there was a shift towards pocket money being an allowance
Right.
rather than payment for work.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It reflects a changing understanding of children's rights,
Exactly.
the importance of protecting their well-being.
Yeah, it's a really important shift.
Yeah.
And Riker explains how the laws around child savings accounts have evolved too.
Oh, interesting.
In the past, these accounts were often very restricted,
Okay.
but now there's a push to make them more accessible and user-friendly, even with things like online banking and debit cards for kids.
Wow. So they can really learn how to manage.
It's all about empowering them. Yeah.
To manage their own money from a young age.
It sounds like there's a real recognition that financial literacy starts early.
Yeah, it's never too early to start.
But what about the tax implications? Is there anything parents need to know about that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Generally in the UK, kids don't have to pay taxes on their pocket money,
Oh, okay.
but there are some exceptions.
Oh, like what?
For example, if they're earning income from investments or receive large gifts from parents,
Okay.
there might be tax implications.
So it's definitely something parents need to be aware of.
Yeah, it's worth looking into.
It sounds like this legal stuff might be more complicated than people realize.
It can be. And that's why Riker stresses the importance of clear communication
Oh, yeah.
between parents and kids about the financial implications of pocket money.
Communication is key.
It is.
It's not just about handing over cash.
No.
It's about teaching them to be responsible citizens
Yeah.
in all aspects of their financial lives.
In all aspects, yeah. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the historical context to the psychological impact to the legal landscape.
We've been all over the place.
But I'm curious, does the book speculate about the future of pocket money at all?
He does.
Okay.
It feels like we're in a time of such rapid change.
Yeah, especially with technology.
Especially with technology. And Riker does dedicate a chapter to looking ahead
Okay.
at what the future might hold for pocket money.
Okay, I'm all ear. What kind of things does he talk about?
Well, one of the biggest things he explores is the potential impact of artificial
AI.
or AI.
Wow, AI and pocket money. That sounds pretty futuristic.
It does, doesn't it?
What would that even look like?
Well, imagine things like AI-powered tutors
Yeah.
that can provide personalized financial education based on a child's learning style.
So it's like tailored to them.
Yeah, and needs.
Oh, that's cool.
Or AI-powered pocket money apps
Okay.
that track spending, set goals, and even suggest investment opportunities based on a child's risk tolerance.
It's like having a personal financial advisor in your pocket.
Exactly.
But I guess like with any new technology, there would be some things to consider.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Riker points out the ethical considerations around AI.
Right.
Things like data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the potential for AI to perpetuate existing inequality.
So we have to be very careful
Very careful.
about how these technologies are developed and used.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool.
It sounds like it could be a powerful tool for good,
Yeah.
but we need to make
Used
sure.
responsibly.
Are there any other big trends Riker sees on the horizon for pocket money?
Yes. He also delves into the potential impact of automation, which is something we hear a lot about in relation to the future of work in general.
All right, people are worried about robots taking over jobs. So how does that tie into pocket money?
Well, if traditional jobs become scarce,
Right.
it might be harder for kids to earn money.
Through like part-time work or chores?
Yeah, exactly. So the question becomes, how will pocket money be distributed in the future? Yeah.
It's a whole new economic model for kids.
It is.
Yeah.
Does Riker have any thought?
Well, he doesn't give any definitive answers.
Okay.
But he raises some thought-provoking questions.
Okay, like what?
Will parents just give their kids a universal basic income?
Oh, interesting.
Will new ways of earning money emerge through online platforms or the gig economy?
It's fascinating to think about how these bigger societal trends
Yeah,
might reshape the way we approach pocket money.
absolutely. And Riker emphasizes that the way we handle pocket money isn't static.
It's always evolving.
It's always evolving alongside the social and economic landscape.
It's like a reflection of the times we're living in.
Exactly.
So we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive, from history and psychology to technology and the future.
Yeah, we've really gone deep.
But I feel like there's something we haven't quite touched on yet.
What's that?
We've talked a lot about the practical aspects of pocket money, but we haven't really delved into the bigger picture, the societal implications. Yes, the big picture.
It feels like pocket money is about so much more than just teaching kids about money.
And Riker agrees. In the final chapter, he really expands the scope
Oh, right.
and argues that pocket money can be a powerful tool for promoting things like financial inclusion, social mobility, and even environmental sustainability.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
How does pocket money tie into all of that?
Well, for example, by teaching kids about ethical investing and socially responsible businesses,
Okay.
we can empower them to use their financial resources to make a positive impact on the world.
I like that.
And by making sure all kids have access to quality financial literacy education,
Right.
we can help create a more equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to achieve financial well-being.
Yeah, like it's not just about individual wealth. It's
about the whole system.
creating a system that works for everyone.
Exactly.
It's like pocket money is this microcosm of the larger economic system.
Yeah.
And the choices we make at this level can ripple outward
They can ripple outward.
and have a much broader impact.
Exactly. And Riker's book is a powerful call to action for all of us to take financial literacy seriously.
Yeah.
It's not just about individual success. It's about creating a better future for everyone.
That's such an important message. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the information, but also really inspired.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It's amazing to think about how something as simple as pocket money
Right.
can be connected to so many complex issues.
Yeah, it's not so simple after all.
It's not so simple.
No.
I know what you mean. It's been quite a journey.
It has.
But I think the main takeaway is that pocket money is so much more than just handing over cash.
Absolutely.
It's about shaping values, habits, and ultimately the kind of society we want to live in.
It's about the future.
Yeah, it really highlights the responsibility we have, not just as parents or educators, but as a society, to equip the next generation with the tools they need to thrive financially.
It's a big responsibility.
It is. And Riker's book doesn't shy away from that. It's a call to action for all of us.
Yeah.
Parents, educators, policymakers, even just concerned citizens,
Oh,
to think
no.
critically about how we're approaching financial literacy and to find ways to make it more accessible and engaging
Yeah, we need to make it relevant.
for everyone.
For everyone.
Yeah, I love that it's not just about individual responsibility, but also about creating systemic change.
Right.
It's like, yeah, we need to teach kids about money,
Right.
but we also need to make sure they're growing up in a world
Yeah, where they have a fair shot.
where they have a fair shot at financial well-being
Exactly. It's about creating a more equitable and just financial system
for everyone.
for everyone.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to encourage our listeners to really reflect on their own experiences with pocket money.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Think back to your childhood. How did your parents or guardians handle it? What lessons did you learn, good or bad?
Yeah, it's so easy to focus on the kids. But reflecting on our own experiences can
Yeah.
be incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
It can help us identify any unconscious biases or habits we might be passing on.
It's like by understanding our own financial journeys, we can be more intentional
Yeah.
about the messages we're sending to the next generation.
Right. And maybe it even sparks some conversation
Oh, yeah.
within families about money.
That would be good.
It's a topic we often avoid, but it's so important to talk about
It is.
openly and honestly.
And maybe even a little bit critically.
Ooh.
Like, Did the way we were taught about money set us up for success, or did it leave us with some baggage
Yeah, some
we're
baggage.
still carrying around?
I think those are questions everyone should be asking themselves.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's never too late to reevaluate our own financial habits
Right.
and find ways to improve.
Mhm.
And if you're a parent or educator, think about how you can use those insights to guide the next generation.
Yeah, that's a good challenge.
What do you wish you had known when you were younger?
Yeah.
What kind of financial skills do you think are most important for kids to learn today?
It's a good question.
And don't be afraid to get creative. We've talked about all these digital tools and programs, but there are so many other ways to teach kids about money.
Oh, yeah.
From playing board games to starting a family business
Yeah.
to having open discussions about budgeting and saving.
It's all about finding what works
Yeah.
for you and your family and being open to new ideas.
And remember, even small changes can make a big difference. Whether it's having regular conversations about money, setting up a savings account for your child, or teaching them about investing.
Yeah.
Every step you take is a step towards creating a more financially literate future.
It's a great way to put it. This deep dive has been such an incredible journey.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from the history and psychology of pocket money to the legal landscape and the future of financial literacy.
It's been amazing to see how this seemingly simple concept is
Yeah.
connected to so many aspects
So many aspects.
of our lives and society.
And I think what's really stuck with me is that pocket money isn't just about teaching kids about money. It's about so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's about shaping their values, building their confidence, and preparing them to be responsible and engaged.
Exactly. It's about empowering them
Yeah.
to create a better future for themselves and for the world.
Before we sign off, we want to give a huge shout out to Conrad Riker for his fantastic book, Pocket Money, A History of Financial Literacy in the UK.
It's a great book.
It's been an invaluable resource for this deep dive.
Absolutely.
If you want to learn more about this fascinating topic, we highly recommend checking it out.
Definitely.
It's available on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
Yeah, go get it.
And we want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you found it as insightful
And engage.
and engaging as we have.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.